Hi, Simon here, GM8NYB. Just a continuation of a little project I was doing for a power supply for the Sailor radio. It's the R1120. It's part of the Sailor 1000 system. I thought I could run the radio on its own, and there is a power supply for it. Now, as I said in the last video, they're very hard to come by, the single standalone unit for running the radio. But I managed to get the circuit of that one, so this is it here. This would have been the right way. This would be a little inverter, as I explained in the last video, and it produced 8 volts, 22 volts and minus 45 volts to run the receiver separately. Chances of getting the proper one was pretty slim, so I just used parts I had lying around, I had for years, and a couple of bits off eBay. So basically I had this nice big transformer here, which is 25025. So I've utilised that, and as you can see here, I just made a little rectifier, bridge rectifier, a bit of PCB, just drew it on with a etch resist pen. So that gives me my 25 volts centre tap, the 025 rectified. This little bit of insulation here is actually again, it's all made out of scrap parts. This is an old bank card I sprayed grey. It's made of plastic obviously, and then I glued it in, so that takes the supply there. As I said in the last video, I use these two modules. These are the Buck or Boost modules you get off eBay. They were very cheap. This one is I've set to 5 volts. It's got the 25 volts going in, but set to 5 volts. This is set to 22 volts. Then over here you see these two transformers were 115 volt from an American plug-in wall supply. So I used 2 of them and put them in series. So, and that's to produce a 45, and rectified it. A little rectifier here and a smoothing capacitor, that gives me minus 45 volts. Yeah, the box here was an old box from one of those walk-in refrigeration control units. They're very old now. This big hole here had a panel meter in it, but I thought I'd use I could use that as an external loudspeaker. So I found this loudspeaker which goes in there nicely. Not completely finished, but it's finished to a point where I could test the radio with it. So that's the plan for that. Coming around the back here, there's a few slots in it which I will be filling in with a couple of plates that went on it, sort of thing. But at the moment I'll put this Molex connector, 6-pin connector, so I can connect up the radio. I just wired it in here. See there, so it's just wired into the thermal strips. So that's basically it there, and that's basically just a mains connector there. Now, I haven't put any filtering in it. I tested it with a scope here, so very little ripple. Alright, let's plug it in. I'll just power that up. That's it, powered up there. A couple of LEDs on the Buck Boost modules, the green one here and a blue one. Now I've left a few holes on the front panel, hard to see here, but I'll probably put some LEDs in there eventually. I also need to get a switch. I want to put a nice rocker switch in one of these, make a space for a rocker switch, a main switch. Right, so let's have a look at the noise. Right, I've got a scope lead here connected to the negative terminal, and I've set the scope there to 50 millivolts per division. It's on AC at the moment, so I'll put this on the 8 volt line there. So there is some spiky noise there, but it's less than 50 millivolts, so it's not too bad. Jump over to the 22 volts, slightly higher frequency there, but the ripple is still below 50 millivolts. And of course, there's just a straight, that's the 45 volts out, it's just picking up ripple from one of the other supplies there. So it's quite low. Hopefully that doesn't appear through the radio. Right, the cable I've made up is just loose cores at the moment. I've used a Molex connector that goes into my power supply. Now there's a Molex connector on the back of the radio, it's quite a large one, and I looked around, I think it's 38 pins, and I can't really find 38 pin ones. So what I've done, I've just pushed them into the right place at the moment. Right, that's the circuit of the input filter, which is connected, there's a little board in here, and that's connected to this Molex connection on the front. So as you see here, we have 8 volts in at the top. That actually goes to pin 1. I'll come to that one in a minute. Then we've got 45 volts in and our 22 volts in. So that's on pin 11, pin 7, up there, pin 1. Another connection somewhere, there's the ground connection, pin 3, which I've now put on here. So these are Molex connectors, just the actual female pins, and I've covered them in heat shrink here. I just push them in the right place. Now there's a link here. That link is, believe it or not, I haven't got the circuit diagram with me. If you look at the circuit diagram of the audio amplifier, you'll find that it goes to the socket for the headphones, but the output for the speaker doesn't go directly to the speaker. There's it says RF to TX here, pin 20, so it goes onto here, and then there's RF from TX, which then goes to the speaker. So I put a link between those two to get the internal speaker to work. Right, now I connect the Molex connector here. And we'll power it up. Right, that's it powered up. Comes up with zeros there. A lot of things did notice, I think the internal illumination's gone. There's a dimmer, it doesn't make any difference there. Tuning, I'll start with the broadcast bands. I think the amateur bands and the conditions aren't too good here at the moment. I'm with my aerial not really up very high. Also I've got the feeder is damaged as well. The neighbouring horses pushed the fence where the feeder was attached. So I'm going to start with the broadcast bands. A strong signal in here should be radio 4 on the long wave. So I'll just dial it in. 198.0. And we press the noise generator here. The noise generator starts the receiver off. First of all, turn it on.
Terrible for you. On the other hand, I recently came downstairs to discover the
so not a bad sound. That's the RF tune. Right, let's turn the volume down a bit. It's switched to AM at the moment, obviously. Right, let's try Radio Scotland. Oops. 8, 10. Press the noise generator. That's Radio Scotland. So there we go. Now if you press the dot button here, you can start using this. And as you turn this, the frequency starts to move. And then it's quite freewheeling. This it's inside here. It's just a wheel with lots of little holes in it. Obviously, it's using light, and you can spin that, and it spins for ages there. And the frequency runs up. So that's the medium wave. Not much there. 1100. Somewhere in the top of the medium wave band there. Right, let's jump up to we'll try the 80 meter amateur band. 3. That's right. 3600. I need 2 hands to press that. I'll tune in the noise. There we go. I'll just do it. It's quite dead, the band here. Let's put to CW. There's lower sideband. There's a noise there. It's to do with my aerial being low. So there's a radio amp there, a very strong one.
An exhaustion.
Just peek around the beer further. So it's working, that's not bad. So let's try 40 meters. 7100, see what that's like. Oop. Well, there we go. Spot frequency, Volnet. I think it's 5450. Single sideband, output sideband.
2,400 feet. Temperature 22, dew point 18. QMH1024. 61 times net free information to Ludcast.
I've got intermediate set on the filter there. Okay. So it's not bad, it's working. And above that, broadcast bands are good. Let's try. That'll be AM, of course. Well, there we go. Enough of that. I know to turn the speaker off and turn that A off. That stays on here, so I'm not sure that's normal. I assume it is. And the only thing I need to do is fix the light on here. Right, so not bad for a homemade power supply out of bits. Just have a quick look inside the top here. Quick show you what's inside this cover. Right, just the top cover there. Obviously this is the filters. I think that's a space for an auxiliary one if you put nice little modular circuit boards. Each unit there. And this is nice here. This turns a big bar down here. The cogwheel there. That cogwheel obviously tunes must be the coils in there, the tuning pack, as you see, that moves in and out when you move the RF tune in and out. So that was a quick look. That looks like an audio board there. This one looks like the audio board. Anyway, so that's a quick look inside. There's the input filter board. As you see, these the Molex connectors are connected to the various inputs here. So that's I just traced them back to the right pins. Okay, so that works. I'm quite happy with that. And considering it's made out of bits and pieces I had lying around, apart from these things that I bought on eBay, but they weren't that expensive, £5 I think for one and £3 for the other. This is the other one that it didn't actually buck the voltage, it just boosted it up, so it wasn't really good here. I could have used it in the 45 volts actually, when I think about it now, but at the time I didn't have this one. I'd built it with that, so I'd already put these in the little box here. So there we are. That's basically it. Just a few finishing touches to put on it. The lid, put a switch on the back. Might put a couple of fuses in there on the mains coming in. And as I say, no way I could get hold of the original power supply, which I think is an N. It's a N1405 from Sailor. I got a comment who backed that up. Jeff, he has a Sailor set as well. I think has a similar receiver, and he was looking for the power supply and couldn't find one, so he was quite interested to see how I got on with this. Of course, not everybody's going to have transformers and bits and pieces, but I did have another idea that came to me. I've got this. It's a whole Hewlett Packard PC laptop. Now it's 19 volts, about 3 amps. I thought, well, it's quite possible you could have either utilised these inside or just split them up, get a couple of those and a couple of these voltage converters, and I mean it's 3.5 amps, so according to the label on it, you'd probably power your 45, but you'd probably power 3 of these, or you can put 2 or 3 of them in. So there are different means of getting parts. So there we go. Well, hope that was useful to anybody, and see you next time. Bye bye.